like when you think of matches where you played against Galway over the years, are there moments or opponents that you think of?
Well, I had the misfortune. Obviously, I started out in 95, 96 when Galway were good. I was actually marking Ray Silk, and I can remember to this day, it was one of the weirdest things. We actually drew with them, and actually Declan McGoldrick was our free taker, and he missed a penalty. We should have beaten them. Missed a penalty. We went to a replay up in Tuam. Now they comprehensively better us on the day, but Ray Silk was holding my baby finger. You know what I mean? It's to this day I remember it, but he got into my head. When he was holding my finger, I was thinking about it rather than running away. So it's small little things you learn. And then obviously I was up against Kevin Walsh and Sean O'Donnell, like, you know, Twin Towers. They were just two giants, and myself and Paul Durkin were sort of trying to sort of keep the ball as low as possible. But you know, they were just a formidable outfit. But we were competitive. We you know, Galway never dominated us that much. Obviously, Mayo was the team that always probably was the one that would give you the clipping. Well, I take that back. Galway did clip us in 2000, where if we'd beaten Mayo. I know I can remember watching James Horn making reference to the game where he got sent off. It was an incident with me where I kind of made the most of a little bit of a bump he gave me. He got sent off. We bet Mayo, huge euphoria in Markovich Park, and then Galway arrived into town 2 weeks later, and literally it was 40-0 at half time. Like, it was one of the worst days of Sligo football. There's a picture of myself, Desi Sloan and Paul Taylor, and just in the background then is the scoreboard. The three of us just looked like three lost sheep, like in the middle of nowhere. We just was one of those awful days. And you know, then obviously we got competitive, and we obviously beat Galway then in 07, and at that stage then it was tit for tat. We were really, really competitive with them. So some great games against Galway, and funny, we had Kevin as the manager, and he was excellent. He was give great insight, and he was very honest, and talk about certain fellas blowing black smoke, but everything he said we believed and bought into it. And you know, we felt that we were as good as anyone in Connacht that time.
Just talk to me about this baby finger again. I'm fascinated by this. How did this come about exactly? Just holding your baby finger?
It was basically me. I used to stand in an awful bad habit of standing with my two hands on my hips, and it was just basically he just got a hold of the baby finger, and I kind of looked back at him and I was saying, and then you get involved, and then you started giving a little bit of a dig, and I was, you know, you're a young fella coming in, you should have a bit more cop on, but he was just playing it cute. It was just that little the act of distraction, and when that was going on, I wasn't sort of running, I wasn't involved in the play, and he was doing his job. He was taking me out of the game, but it always resonated with me, and you know, I often tried it with a couple of lads.
I was going to ask you whether you tried with anyone after. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. You go hold a hand or just, you know, touch somebody, and they'd be kind of wondering what he at. But yeah, it's the tricks of the trade and the dark arts, or whatever you want to call it. But
it's a dark arts though, because he's an experienced player and he's thinking, how can I take this young fella, like who's probably fitter, faster, stronger than me, but if your head is gone at all, forget about it. It's
first, as soon I knew it, it was afterwards, and I was funny enough, Lord Ross, my father, was telling him about it, and he said, you learned your lesson. I said, I did, yeah. He says, it's art of distraction, and it was it's something that you sort of realize that, yeah, he won that one on me, but that was the way you do whatever it takes. There's small little things, there's subtle little things that you can just deflect, and that's exactly what it was. I remember, and unfortunately I never learned my lesson. I remember in '94 it was Kevin Staunton with Mayo, and I would have known a lot of the Knockmore lads, and Kevin was one of the, you know, rising stars with Knockmore, and obviously they were playing in All Ireland at that time, All Ireland club, and he asked me how the family were. And it started during the championship, 10 minutes into the game, and literally we were being kicked off the field, and we having a conversation with them. Just silly little things, but naivety at its very, very best. But you know, it's just, you know, they were you know, cuteness and how the way they played it at the time.
It's gas. We played a county final in Offaly against Kennedy in 08, and he's a counsellor since, John Glendenning. He was a touch eccentric, but he came in sub with 10 minutes to go, and he just came in and was like, well, lads, what's the crack in here? And I was just like, what is this, lad? Like, he totally inside my head, like straight away, like he just out of the game, like it's mad
stuff, you know. The best way I always found was you just make up a lie about something. You just make up and you'd have the person actually, you could see them actually. You suddenly look over at them and you can see them thinking about what did O'Hara actually say? What did he mean by that? And the game is going on, and you have a gentle reminder again of it. It's just small games, but it works.
You hear some nasty ones too, like I heard of one player, apparently he wrote the phone number of a rival player's girlfriend on his arm or whatever to try and get into his head. So nothing seems to be off bounds, really.
It's, you know, it's, you can step to all type of lows. Listen, I have often dealt with certain fellas, like, you know what I mean? I have a bit of a wicked tongue in me at times, and I have a way of biting back, and it's right to the bone. But, you know, as I just said, it's not a tactic I'd ever really use. It's you just get on with football, but somebody throws something at you, you can nip it in the bud. But you can see young fellas being, you know, there's physically handling fellas, and, you know, obviously they brought in the black car for that type of stuff, and, you know, you still see it happening, and some fellas getting away with it. But listen, it's part and parcel of the game. It's no one is getting hurt, and you know, that's the way it is.